Hey golfers, are you sick of chunking the golf ball, hitting a mile behind it, not hitting it anywhere? I need 5 minutes and I'll give you 3 drills that will guarantee that you stop chunking the golf ball. Make sure you stay tuned for the whole video. My name is Maggie Simons, but my friends call me Mags for short because I help them master a great swing. Stay tuned for these 3 drills and we're gonna get you hitting the ball solid in no time. Golfers, in all the lessons that I've taught, when my students are chunking the golf ball, it is coming from 2 main reasons. So the first reason is a mental reason that my students are trying to help the ball in the air, right? We know that a solid golf shot, the ball goes up in the air, nice and high, right? Stays in the air for a long time, lands softly. So we need to understand what makes the ball go in the air and train our brain and trust that by hanging back and lifting the ball is not the way to do that. Because so many of our problems stem from that instinct of our brain trying to help the ball in the air. Okay, so we have to understand that what gets the ball in the air is we have to have that club working down towards the ground through impact. We need to hit the ball and then the ground. Okay, and in order to hit the ground after the golf ball, we have to have the golf ball's in the middle of my stance. I've got an 8-iron here. If I know that at impact, I'm trying to brush the ground in front of the golf ball, I need to make sure that my upper center, so like my sternum, and my navel, like my belly button, my lower center here, my upper center and my lower center have to be forward at impact. If they hang back, I'm going to hit behind the ball, or maybe I might miss the ground and hit up on the ball and top it, which is no good either, right? So training our brain that hanging back and lifting the golf ball is not how we get the ball in the air. We have to understand that concept that we are trying to have that club work down towards the ground through impact. We want to hit the ball first, brush that ground, take a divot after the golf ball. And in order for that to happen, our upper and our lower centers have to be more forward at impact. That is crucial to hitting a solid iron shot, okay? So a lot of times I'll see my students, they're trying to get their weight left and they'll do it this way, right? So their hips will go forward, but now their upper center is hanging back behind the golf ball and I'm still going to bottom out, right? So everybody says like, oh, you gotta start with your hips. Really, no, we have to make sure we get our upper center forward in front of the golf ball as well so that we can brush the ground in front of the ball. Okay, so for drill number 1, to help us hit that ball first and stop chunking it, we're gonna take our setup and I want you to put your right foot kind of directly behind your left foot, okay? So not way out here, it's essentially really close to being in line with that lead foot. And you can see how obviously all my weight is on my left side here. And I have to hit a few small swings where I'm gonna try to keep my balance. What most of my students would do here, because they're so used to hanging back, right, is they're gonna fall backwards and lose their balance. So I should, if I'm keeping my weight and my pressure forward, I should be able to keep my balance on these small little swings here because my weight is staying on the front foot. So you can see how my divot was after the golf ball. So we're just doing some small swings here to start. Right foot is, I mean, literally I just have my toe back there. There's not a lot of weight back there, but you can see that my upper center and my lower center are already in front of the golf ball, which is gonna make it a lot easier for that club to land in front of the golf ball. So do another small swing here. Okay, so weight's going forward, easily hit ball, then the ground. And again, if you have been purposely or subconsciously trying to help the ball in the air, this is gonna be hard for you at first. You're probably gonna hit some shots where you lose your balance, wanna fall backwards, because that's your body's way of trying to get the ball airborne. And we have to retrain our brain that that is not what we wanna do. So again, right foot directly behind the left, small swings. Okay, divot after the golf ball. Now from here, I would go into a second kind of version of this drill. We can bring our right foot back up, but we're gonna have our feet really close together. And I still want you to feel like you're starting with most all of your weight on your front foot. So we can kind of lift our heel of that trail foot of my right foot off the ground because I want you to feel like you're starting with more weight on that front foot. But I am bringing my right foot back up to a little bit more traditional spot here. And then again, same thing, trying to keep my upper and lower center forward and make sure that I'm not falling backwards and losing my balance. Okay, so you should definitely notice that low point or that contact point of our swing circle starting to move more forward when we do this. Again, not hanging back. We gotta remember that we need to have that downward strike to make the ball go up in the air. Right? So, you know, I'm making some exaggerated divots because I'm staying excessively left here, but that's okay, right? Those divots are after the golf ball, which is our #1 goal for these drills. So up on my right toe, just staying left the whole time. Okay, that was really solid, really solid shot there. That was awesome. So start with right foot directly behind, start with small swings until we can start to hit that ball, then ground. Then we can bring our right foot up, still narrow stance, and still most all of our weight on that lead foot. You can just kind of be up on your toe on that trail foot. Again, really trying to make sure we're keeping our upper and lower center forward. And if anything on these, I'd want you to feel like you're losing your balance forward. Definitely not wanting to hang back, because then we're gonna go back to hitting the ground behind the golf ball. Okay, so drill number 2 to help us from chunking the golf ball. And this might seem counterintuitive because a lot of times my students, when they're used to hitting the ground first, they'll start to creep that ball position way back, right? And to try to help them hit the ball first. And that's gonna affect a lot of other things in our swing. So that's not really the fix that we want. So if we know that we're not hitting the ground in front of the golf ball because our weight, our pressure, our centers are not enough left, then we want to exaggerate the need for us to move left. So if we just move the ball back, you know, we definitely don't have to worry about getting left. And honestly, especially as we get to lower lofted clubs, you'll probably be even more apt to hang back because you're trying to get loft. And by moving that ball back, you know, we can get ahead of it. We can hit some really low shots that way. So what I want you to do is I want you to take your normal setup. So again, with an 8-iron, I would normally have my ball position right in the middle of my stance. And now from here, I'm gonna move probably a good 6-8 inches back to where that ball is, you know, at least to where a driver should be, right? Well forward in my stance. And I'm moving the club back too. So I'm going from normal stance to 6-8 inches back with everything. And my goal is to try to hit this ball solid. Okay, so visually I see the golf ball up there. I know I actually need to brush the ground in front of the golf ball. So in order for me to not hit a mile behind it, I'm gonna feel like I really have to kind of chase after this golf ball, really move my centers forward in order to not just hit a mile behind it. So really good drill to help us exaggerate that feel, have our brain feel like it needs to chase after that golf ball. So we're gonna hit a few shots here and see what happens. Again, I'm still trying to hit this solidly with that divot after the golf ball. So, okay, so didn't quite take a divot, but I didn't hit behind it. And I felt like I was having to move a ton to my left side in order to not bottom out well behind the golf ball. So again, normal setup, ball in the middle. Now from here, I'm gonna move my feet and my body 6-8 inches back. And again, goal, trying to brush that ground in front of the golf ball, really having to chase after the ball. There we go. That was really well hit. Really on my left side here. Brush the ground after the golf ball. That was really good. So you wanna do this a few times to where you feel like you can hit some with good contact, with this exaggerated ball being forward, our setup being well back behind the golf ball. Gotta really chase after it into my left side. That was better. Okay, so then after you can hit a couple solid shots with that exaggerated forward ball position, moving the club back behind the ball, now we can go back to a normal standard setup, but we still wanna feel like the ball is still way forward. We still wanna feel that exaggerated movement into our left side that we felt when the ball was forward. So try to do the exact same amount of moving forward. And again, if you're somebody that's been hanging back, right, you probably need to feel that exaggerated amount. So put the ball there in the middle, take our normal setup. Okay, so I'm gonna keep my standard setup, but I'm going to still tell myself imagining that golf ball is still up 6, 8 inches ahead of me and still really feel like I'm having to chase after that golf ball just like I did with the drill. Right, so my low point was well in front of the golf ball. Felt pretty solid there. Okay, so same thing, using my imagination, pretending that ball is way up forward in my stance. So I really gotta get my center moving left. Okay, so really cool drill to try, and you'll probably struggle at first when the ball is moving that far forward and the club is that far back behind it, but just trust your instinct. Tell yourself you just gotta chase after the ball. Focus on that spot in front of the golf ball and move left as much as you can to try and get that good contact. And that'll make it so much easier when the ball is back in its normal position in the middle of your stance. I promise you it will work. Okay, so drill number 3 to help us hit the ball than the ground and stop chunking it. We're gonna make this a little bit more traditional, right? So this is something that you can kind of take to the golf course. So I've got the ball in the middle of my stance, and I just call this kind of a freeze frame drill, right? So going from our normal setup position, and then I want us to go straight from our setup position to our impact position. Okay, so without taking our backswing, we're just gonna go straight from setup, and we're gonna go to impact. And we wanna feel, let our body feel, let our muscles feel what that impact position looks like. So what you can notice, the difference between my initial setup and my kind of freeze frame impact position, you can see, number 1, I have air underneath that trail heel, right? My trail foot is kind of banked, moving that pressure to that front foot, right? If you're chunking it, most likely if we paused at your freeze frame at impact, you would still be pretty flat-footed on that right foot. So we've got air underneath that trail heel. You know, my hips are a little bit open. And again, you can see that my upper center and my lower center are more forward than they were at address. Okay, so normal setup, freeze frame, stay here for 3 or 4 seconds, let our body feel that. And then we're just gonna go straight into our backswing and kind of try to, hit the ball, but try to return to that freeze frame position that we were freezing and feeling. Okay, so setup, impact, swing. Okay, so it's just reminding our body of what we want to feel. So many times with my students, they might know mentally and in their head what they're trying to do, but if we don't let our body actually feel the correct positions, it's going to take a lot longer for us to make that change. So we need to physically get our muscles into that impact position that we're looking for, so our body can actually feel it, our muscles can feel it. Then we can take our normal backswing and come through and hit it. So again, it's just a good reminder for our muscles of, hey, remember this feel? This is where we want to get to once we get to the golf ball. So setup, impact. Really solid. Y'all, if you do those 3 drills, I guarantee that you're going to start striking the ball and then the ground and enjoy this golf game so much more. Thank you so much for watching. And if you would like some more individual one-on-one help with your golf game, we can do so through the Skillest app, and I have that link in the description below. And if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel so that way I can continue to bring you content like this every single week. And if you still feel like you're struggling with your golf contact, make sure to check out this video, and it will give you a few more drills to help make sure that you're striking the ball the way that you would like. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you later.